pockets of the game I thought were good, and other pockets that they were able to dictate. It was 40-38, and I told the team in the huddle I actually liked the way the game was going. I liked the shots we were getting. I liked the way we were defending. Through that, typically you lose your resolve if you're missing that many shots, and a lot of them were wide open shots. So we were able to defend, throughout that. But then right after that timeout, I think we gave up probably close to 70% for the next two timeouts. So that section of the game, we started to make shots, and then it was more of a shootout. But in the second half, it was much better. There were some more intentional defensive possessions. That's a very aggressive team. So everybody knows that they're going to attack and try to get in the paint. It's easier said than done to try to keep them out of the paint. You have to have everybody working in unison. You also have to take the challenge on the ball. So that was much better in the second half. And then the end of the third quarter was, our best stretch, of the game.
Huck got a lot done. 15, 4, and 3 in 18 minutes. What do you like about his game? He was able to shake through offensively, obviously.
Just he has to stay with it. We want him to be aggressive. So part of that aggressiveness, there is a responsibility to also make the right reads. If they're bringing a second defender, which if he continues to get to his spots, teams will do that. That's what this league does. But he was assertive on his catches. He's really been working diligently, on his shooting. He doesn't have to be defined by that. But if they're giving him wide open shots, we want him to take those. But we also want him, to be aggressive and put pressure on the defense, getting to the rim. He did a lot of good things. You just felt his inertia all game long, and that's what we want.
I know it's unusual that to play 10 or more guys and everybody takes at least 2 threes in a game, 4 of them or 8 of them took at least 4. But in a way, is this just where it's going? Is this now? I mean, obviously the league has been 3 happy for a decade, but is this the formula where everybody on the floor has to almost be a 3-point weapon, almost no matter what now?
It helps for sure, and our guys have really worked at that. Obviously, Bam has really worked at that as well. It all works together, though. It can't just be threes, and it can't just be paint attacks. For us to be our best version offensively, we have to read advantages, attack advantages, make the appropriate play, and then within making that appropriate play, just make sure that it's a smart profile, without being robotic. And there are really good stretches of the game we were doing that. Jimmy was in attack mode. Bam was in attack mode in certain spots. Tyler. So there were different parts of the menu we were hitting pretty well.
Just the naked eye, it looked like you were getting Bam switched out a little bit more than usual tonight, and for at times that was costing you, at least with the interior seals, and then that relationship seemed to get better as the game going on. Why was switching kind of the move tonight?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely a weapon we have in our toolkit. It just depends, what you're willing to negotiate. We still, there's no scheme that's going to take away. Like, you have to take the challenge. You have to handle your business, whether you're out in the perimeter or in the paint. We know full well that this is a great offensive rebounding team too. So, that's a thing that Bam can do extremely well. And he and Jimmy and H, but we don't want to just always be in that scheme. So it just kind of depends.
You called him the X factor before the game, and obviously Terry was huge, especially at the start of the fourth when the scoring was a little slow there. Got those 3 big threes. Can you just talk about the comfortability he has in those type of situations where you need that scoring late?
I mean, he's such a gifted, ignitable clutch player. That's unique. You can't teach what he has just in terms of fourth quarter. The game is in the balance, or a game feels a certain way. I think that's when he rises, to be his best. He's dynamic for us, and whatever role this, is, he's really important. And we just wanted to, want him to fast track to get comfortable. And him being comfortable is him being himself, him being aggressive. Everybody wants him, to be aggressive. And a lot of those shots, the way we're built, are going to be off the catch. He knows that. He wants to fill that role. And he's looked a lot better the last two games.
Back-to-back 10 assist games for Bam. I'm just wondering what you've seen from him as a playmaker, as in this kind of new role.
I mean, it's not necessarily a new role. It's just, we're subtly shifting things, and there's layers to that. And, Bam's, one of his initial gifts, when he started to take on more offensive responsibilities years ago, was his playmaking, his ability to do dribble handoffs, ability to pass at the elbow or top of the floor. We want to take advantage of that as much as possible. And then the balance is we want him to be aggressive and want him, to be able to put pressure on the defense at the rim, in the dotted circle, all those different areas. And he's managing that extremely well. That probably puts a lot of stress on teams that are scouting against us when Bam gets double-digit assists. There's a lot of different things that can happen or go wrong for your defense when he's in playmaking mode on that. So it'll be the balance of doing that and also keeping him aggressive. Okay, thank you.